John never forgot that summer. He was in 5th grade, riding his bike through the cracked sidewalks of a quiet logging town. It was the kind of town where everyone knew each other by name, and secrets never stayed buried for long. But one secret, unearthed quite literally, still lingers like smoke in a locked room. It happened to a man named Jay, a close friend of John's father. Everyone in the neighborhood called him Uncle Jay, though he wasn't related. His house sat just 3 doors down from John's. Uncle Jay was an iron worker, tough hands, quick to laugh, always with a lucky strike between his fingers. He lived with his young wife, Marianne, and their toddler daughter, Ellie. That summer, Uncle Jay began remodeling the house. He'd saved up for years to rebuild the foundation and finally add the porch Marianne had always dreamed of. John remembered the day the backhoe came. Dust filled the air, and neighbors watched from porches as the earth peeled away like layers of old wallpaper. That's when they found it. Buried beneath the crawl space, just under the far corner of the house, was a jar. Not glass, clay, hand-formed, crude, with odd scratch marks circling its surface. It wasn't large, maybe the size of a small melon, but heavy. It rattled faintly when moved, like bones in a tin can. The workers laughed, called it junk. Uncle Jay shrugged. "Nothing but old junk from the natives," he said, tossing it aside onto the dirt pile. That night, the dreams began. It came suddenly, without warning. Uncle Jay awoke in his bed, cold sweat on his brow, but he wasn't truly awake. The room shimmered like heat rising off asphalt. In the dream, an old woman stood at the foot of his bed. Her hair was long, silver, tangled like dead vines. Her eyes, clouded, sunken, locked on his. "You disturbed what should not be touched," she whispered. Her voice cracked like dry wood. "You threw it away." Jay tried to speak, but his mouth wouldn't open. The woman took a step closer. "You should have buried it again." He jolted up with a shout. The sun was rising. Marianne stirred beside him, already reaching for Ellie. "I had a weird dream," Jay muttered over breakfast, "about some old woman, real angry, said I shouldn't have thrown that jar away." Marianne chuckled softly. "You've been working too hard. It's probably just stress." But it didn't stop. The woman returned the next night, and the night after that. Each time, her voice grew louder, harsher. "You threw it away. You disrespected the resting place." Her eyes glowed in the dark like 2 burning coals. He started to dread falling asleep. Marianne teased him at first, then grew irritated. "You're scaring Ellie," she snapped one morning. "Snap out of it." But he couldn't. Every time he dreamed, she was there. Sometimes at the foot of his bed, sometimes standing in the yard. Once he saw her reflection in the kitchen window while washing dishes, though no one was outside. Then came the day the remodel finished. The foundation was solid, the porch finally done. Marianne was thrilled. Jay, not so much. The dreams didn't stop, but life trudged on. As always, Jay went to the market every few days. The market was a few miles away, and it became his way of coping. A chance to be alone, to shake off the creeping fear. Then came that day. It started like any other. A fight between Jay and Marianne over something small, chicken or pork maybe. Their arguments were loud but never serious. She stormed out with Ellie and headed next door to watch I Love Lucy with her friend, like she always did. Jay slammed the door shut. But this time, he didn't leave it open for her return. Instead, he went to John's father's house. John remembered coming home from school, surprised to see Uncle Jay sitting in their living room, hunched forward, his hands wrapped around a beer bottle like he was praying into it. The men were unusually quiet. John's father offered another beer. Uncle Jay declined. "I've already got everything I need," Jay said. "Big shopping trip?" John's dad chuckled, noticing the grocery bags in Jay's car. Jay nodded solemnly. "Last meal." The words were strange. His voice didn't carry any humor. He looked tired. Not just tired, done. John's father squinted at him. "You okay, man?" Jay offered a half smile. "Just a long week." The men sat for a while, the clock ticking loudly in the background. Around 6, Jay finally stood. "Thanks," he said, "for everything." He walked back to his car. That was the last time anyone saw him alive. Marianne returned around 9 p.m. The sitcom had ended. Ellie was sleepy, cradled in her arms. She noticed the porch light was off. Strange. The door, shut. Stranger still. He usually left it ajar for her. She tried the handle, unlocked. "Jay?" she called softly. Inside, the lights were low. The house smelled faintly of cooked meat and candle wax. She stepped into the kitchen and screamed. Uncle Jay was hanging from the ceiling fan, his body swinging slightly, a rope cinched tight around his neck. His eyes were rolled back, tongue swollen grotesquely. Below him, on the floor, sat the jar, the same one he had unearthed months ago. A note lay beside it. Marianne fell to her knees, clutching Ellie. Neighbors rushed in at her scream. Someone ran to get the town constable, but by the time they took Jay's body down, he was long gone. His skin had turned a sickly purple, lips dark as ink. The note, scrawled in shaking handwriting, read, "Forgive me, I didn't know. Return the jar to where it belongs. I was warned, but I didn't listen." Marianne buried the jar in the woods behind the house the next day. No ceremony, no words. The dreams stopped. No one saw the old woman again. But even years later, John could still picture the way Uncle Jay looked that evening, rocking slowly in his chair, eyes distant, the weight of something unseen pressing down on him. Some say spirits are just memories trying to finish what life left undone. Others say they guard what we should never disturb. John never forgot, and no one ever dug under that house again.